Hey everyone, welcome back to the ZenMarket channel. Today we're talking about one of the most popular anime franchises of all time, Yu-Gi-Oh! It all began with the manga, then turned into a trading card game, an anime series, and even video games. And after 2 decades, people are still obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's crazy to think that this franchise has stood the test of time and continues to captivate audiences everywhere. But did you know that some of these cards are worth a fortune? That's right, today we're going to take a look at just how much these Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are worth. So grab your deck and let's dive in. How much are Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards worth? First off, let's talk about the basics. The average Yu-Gi-Oh! Card is only worth about 16 US cents, but as we all know, not all cards are created equal. There are commons, super rares, ultra rares, and secret rares, with the rarer cards being worth a pretty penny. But here's where things get interesting. The value of a card is not set in stone. In fact, it can range from a few cents to millions of dollars. Facts like rarity, demand, and condition all play a role in determining a card's worth. Most cards fall in the 1 cent to $200 range, and are the ones you'll see played in tournaments, but for the rarest of the rare, prices can go through the roof. Take the first edition of the Dark Magician Girl card for example. It could be worth just a few cents, or it could sell for thousands of dollars like the Japanese lottery edition Dark Magician Girl, which was sold for $50,000. So moral of the story, there's a big difference between the value of one card and another. Who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Are Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards less expensive in Japan? If you're all about good deals on Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, making the trip to Japan could be the answer for you. As we all know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Originated in Japan, and nearly every Yu-Gi-Oh! Related product is launched there first. This means that if you happen to be in Japan, you could find competitive decks and rare cards cheaper than anywhere else. But don't worry, even if you're not in Japan, you can still get your hands on some sweet deals. Just hop online to ZenMarket.jp and start shopping. And here's a tip: common and rare cards tend to be cheaper in Japan than in other countries. Keep in mind though that the rarest cards are expensive, no matter where you are. In fact, a 1999 edition tournament Blackluster Soldier was recently sold for $9 million right here in Japan. But if you're a collector or just looking to build your dream deck, it might be worth checking out what Japan has to offer. You never know, you could snag a bargain and add some unique cards to your collection. How are Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards classified? Did you know that there are 10 official types of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards? From Common to Duelist League, the rarity increases as the cards get more special, so if you want to find the most expensive cards, look no further than the rarest types. Now let's go through each type one by one. Common cards are the most basic cards that everyone can easily find. They're perfect for beginners and usually cost next to nothing. Rare cards, on the other hand, are common cards with a silver foil name. They're not actually that rare, but they do look pretty cool. Super rare cards have no foil on their name, but they have a holographic finish on their art image. These are a bit more rare and pricey than rare cards. Ultra rare cards are a combination of rare and super rare styles. They have both gold foil on their names and a holographic finish on their art image. Ultimate rare cards have a golden foil on their name and other shiny accents throughout. These are some of the fanciest looking cards out there. Secret rare cards have a rainbow colored foil on their name and a holographic finish on their art image. Ghost rare cards are similar to secret rare cards, but they also have a 3D hologram on their art image. They're really cool to look at, and they can fetch a high price. Starfoil rare cards feature a starburst-like pattern on the card. Mosaic rare cards feature a mosaic-like foiling on the card. Duelist League cards are promotional cards that you can only get by participating in Duelist League tournaments. They feature different styles, and they can be quite valuable. There's also an unofficial 11th type of card, special occasion cards. These are usually one-time cards printed for events or milestones, and they can be just as valuable as Duelist League cards. Be sure to be on the lookout for the rarer cards in this list. The rarer the card, the more expensive it can be. Which Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are worth more money? Not all Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are made equal, which means some are bound to be more expensive than others. And no, we're not talking about just a few dollars here and there. We're talking about cards that are worth thousands and even millions of dollars. So let's start with the top 3 most expensive cards that you can easily find online. Coming in at number 1 is 10,000 Dragon, worth $188 US, followed by Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, worth $171, and at number 3 we have Sengenjin, worth $107. Now, these might be the most expensive cards you can easily find online, but they're not the most expensive cards of all time. No way! Some of the rarest Yu-Gi-Oh cards are worth 10 to 100 times that much. For example, the Tournament Blackluster Soldier was sold for a jaw-dropping $9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $9 million! And that's not all. There's also the Lottery Edition Dark Magician Girl, worth $50,000, and Amatsu Okami of the Divine Peaks, worth $18,800. These cards are extremely rare, and you'd have to be one lucky person, and probably have a lot of money to get your hands on one. How can you tell if a Yu-Gi-Oh card is valuable? How can you tell if a Yu-Gi-Oh card is valuable, you ask? Well, just because a card looks cool doesn't mean it's worth a lot of money. Nope, you gotta take a closer look to assess its condition, which can make a huge difference in its value. So keep your eyes peeled for any bends, scratches, or discoloration. Once you've got a handle on the card's condition, it's time to figure out how much it's worth. Don't worry, you don't need to be a math genius for this part. Just hop online and check out some of the trusty Yu-Gi-Oh price websites like YuGiOhPrices.com and TCGPlayer.com. Just make sure to check a few different sources to make sure you're getting an accurate price. Also, don't forget that the condition of the card effects is valuable, so if you're shelling out big bucks for a rare card, make sure it's in tip-top shape. Mint condition cards always fetch more money than ones that have been through the ringer. How much are Yu-Gi-Oh cards from 1996 worth? You may have seen 1996 Kazuki Takahashi printed on the bottom right of some cards, but here's the thing, the first official Yu-Gi-Oh cards were actually printed in 1999 in Japan and later released to the Western audience in 2002. Now, don't get too worried if you have some cards with the wrong year printed on them. Depending on how rare a card is, specific 1999 edition Yu-Gi-Oh cards can be worth thousands of dollars. But that doesn't mean every card printed back then is worth that much. Some cards from the 90s are worth a lot of money, while others are worth nothing but a few cents. What is the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card? Tournament Blackluster Soldier isn't just expensive, it's $9 million expensive, making it the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card out there. This card is considered the holy grail of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so why is it so pricey? Well, for starters, there are very few of them out there. These cards were only given out as prizes at a Japanese Yu-Gi-Oh tournament way back in 1999, making them super rare. On top of that, Tournament Blackluster Soldier was made of stainless steel, making it the only one of its kind. Now, we don't know if there are several copies of this card or just one, but what we do know is that it sold for $9 million in a private sale a couple of years ago, and the value of the card is only going to keep increasing over time. So if there's any Yu-Gi-Oh card to keep an eye out for, it's this one. Will Yu-Gi-Oh cards be worth something in the future? Worried about Yu-Gi-Oh cards being worth anything in the future? Well, as long as there are people out there who love Yu-Gi-Oh, there will always be a demand for its cards. The trading card game has been around since 1996, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down, so you can rest assured that your Yu-Gi-Oh cards will be worth something in the foreseeable future. But don't get too excited just yet, not every card will hold its value over time. The longer the game goes on, the more cards there will be in circulation, so some rare cards will eventually be reprinted and lose their value. However, if you own a card that doesn't get reprinted, it'll become more and more valuable over time. That's why it's important to keep an eye out for those rare and unique cards that might increase in value in the future. Where's the best place to buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Are you wondering where the best place to buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards is? Well, we've got you covered. Sure, you can try finding brick and mortar stores near you to buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but let's be real, that's far from ideal nowadays. Instead, you should look for online marketplaces. It's more convenient, safer, and, to be honest, probably less expensive. Plus, you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. But don't just buy the first card you see, make sure you compare prices and check the card's condition. You don't want to end up with a crumpled or damaged card, do you? In conclusion, and most importantly, have fun. Collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards should be an enjoyable hobby, not a chore, so take your time, look around, and maybe even find a few friends along the way. Good luck finding that perfect card.